Hey, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. I'm telling you, the technology thing just stinks. All right, people. So here's the deal. I'm going to go over the rules here a little bit because there's some confusion on these rules, and I guess that's understandable. So I'm going to explain it a little bit better because I get emails from people that misunderstand some things, and let's talk about the God thing if we can, real quick. I am a believer in God. I am a big, firm believer in God, right? Absolutely a huge part of my existence. What I don't want to do is offend anybody that is not a believer in God. So when I say that this is not a religious channel, here's what I mean. I don't say you're not going to get sober without God. I don't say this is the God you really ought to be following. What do you mean you're a Muslim, right? I don't care about what your belief is. I do not want to offend people on this boat. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to eliminate God from the boat. And it also doesn't mean that you can't talk about if let's say that the linchpin that caused all of your addiction was related to religion. Well, then obviously you're screwed and you have to find a different channel. Of course not. We're big kids here. What we don't want to do is allow this to become something that it is not. A lot of you have reached out and said, I really do want to hear about what you believe. I would like to hear your beliefs. We tune in here to the channel because we would like to know what you and Heather think about certain things. And there's a platform for that. On Sunday, I'll be over on Rumble and you can hear all of my beliefs on different things. I don't do it here because people come to the boat every day and we don't want to offend any of the people that come here. And you know what? I respect anyone's right to believe anything. It crosses lines occasionally. If the things that you believe are championing evil, right? If you're somebody that believes that kids should be sacrificed, okay, well then there we have a bit of a problem, right? There are certain things that, and there are religions that cross some rules, and I'm less comfortable when people come into the comment section. I had a guy come in the comment section one day and say, you know what, wouldn't be sober without the work of Satan running things, and we eliminated the guy. Why? Because if you take both sides, right, one is considered good and love and one is considered evil and hate. Now, you can lecture me all you want on how the Church of Satan really isn't the Church of Satan. Miss me with that shit. If I have the Church of Ferrari, I dig Italian sports cars. I didn't just name it the Church of Ferrari to bum out people who don't like Italian sports cars. And the people who talk about the Church of Satan, even if they think they're doing it tongue in cheek, you go to their website and there are pictures of Baphomet dripping in blood. So miss me with that shit. But I don't care what you believe. We just don't shove it down the throats of anyone else on the lifeboat. Do you understand? And it's really more about arguments in the comment section concerning religion. If we're not arguing in the comment section about religion and we're not chastising someone because they don't believe, then we're doing fine with that. The only rule on the lifeboat that is etched in stone is rule number 4. Well, Tommy, if you respect everyone's religion, how would you get rid of somebody who calls themselves a Satanist? Because that's not respecting everybody's religion. Well, see, here's where the problem comes. The problem comes is that it steps on rule number 4, mean people suck. And the vast majority of people who have shown up here to talk about how they are Satanists, they're doing it. And they'll tell you afterwards. I got an email from the guy that I blocked who said, I'm really only doing it because I want to push the envelopes of free speech. And I want to show people how, you know what? So you're here to be mean. You're not here to add to the group. You're here to take away from the group and lecture the group and be cruel. Cruel people suck at any level, right? Plain and simple. So if your belief is something that I do not believe in, and there are tons of people, I spent a very long time last night talking to a crew member on the lifeboat who has been here since day one, and she comes back when she needs us, and then she goes but she always stays in contact and always lets me know how she's doing, and she's a witch. We think very different things. Our beliefs are so polar opposite to one another, and she absolutely respects the hell out of my religion, and I respect the hell out of hers because she is absolutely a person of love and a person of kindness like very few people I've ever met in my life. So it doesn't matter. Here's the God thing. If what you believe and what you're doing is moving you forward to love and acceptance, awesome. If it's moving you further away from love and acceptance, I have an issue with that, right? And there are religions that, Scientology is a great one. We can bag on it, right? So let's bag on Scientology a little bit. Scientology separates families and destroys them. They have entire departments that are in business for no other reason than to make sure family members can't stay in contact with one another. That's moving away from love. I think we can all agree on that crap, right? Okay. So I don't have any patience for that. Anything that is moving away from love, we're not doing here. So that's that on the religion front. The cursing front, I occasionally drop a curse, and you will occasionally drop a curse. We're not going to throw you out of the chat for that. We're going to say, hey, do me a favor. Please don't do that. There are people who come here who are deeply religious, and I don't want to offend those people if I can avoid it, right? I don't want to offend anybody if I can avoid it. Now, I get really angry from time to time, and I say things that I shouldn't. I really do everything within my power to never drop F-bombs, right? That's not my get down. And again, I really do believe that it is a prime example of control in your life. When I can control my tongue, when I can control the things that are coming out of my mouth, I'm usually in a pretty good place. And I believe that is across the board for most people. The inability to control, I don't know where my phone went, but I hear it beeping. The inability to control one's tongue is an issue that will haunt you in every other aspect of your life, which is the reason that I make a big deal over it. Okay? The politics thing. I discuss politics here. There's no way not to from time to time. What I don't want is a Democrats suck, Republicans suck conversation in the live chat, right? That's what we're trying to avoid, because I want every Democrat on the planet to have an opportunity to live a sober life and be happy. I would like every Republican on the planet to have the right to live a happy life and to blossom. And if you're an independent or you're a communist, I'm fine with that. I am. I'm fine with that. I don't want to argue points of politics in the live chat. You think my points of politics are stupid? Send me an email and I'll be happy to have a debate with you. The two of us can get on the phone and talk about things until the end of time. But I try, when I talk about politics, to talk about things that are etched in stone, right? At this point, people, there's no debate about anything that I have said here. Our southern border has never been worse. No debate. The number one cause of death in our country is drug overdose. No debate. The people in the White House have met 4 times now currently with their counterparts from the country that, if I say their name, they'll demonetize my video, right? China. He's met 4 times with Xi and never said the word fentanyl out loud. Never said the word drugs out loud. So he's either an idiot that doesn't care how many people die, or he's compromised. That's all. That's what I've said. I'll stick by that until I die. You can love the guy. You can disagree with me, but he's not doing crap on the southern border. You can love everything he's doing as a president. Not sure how that would happen, but you could. Maybe you're related to him. But he's not doing anything about drugs in this country. And we're getting to a point where we're going to be too far gone. I made a point yesterday that I'm more proud of than any point I've made in a long time. And here it is. If 300 people a day are dying from drug overdoses, how many of them got Narcaned back from the dead and are still here? How many of them got thrown out of their house yesterday by their wife or their husband? How many of them had CPS come in and take their kids away from them yesterday? How many of them got fired because they can't show up for work because they're on dope? How many have met a car accident that killed 2 people that don't show up in that 300? How many people nodded out at the wheel and killed somebody? How many people nodded out at work and lost a finger? How many families are destroyed? How many cities are destroyed? Right? How many people became homeless today because all of their rent went to fentanyl? These are the things that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to talk about them. I earned that. I earned that by doing 2 shows a day for 2 years. Occasionally, we need to talk about politics, and if it offends the crap out of you, I am really sorry. And when I point to the exit sign, people get offended, and they've written out to tell me that. You know what? This is just going to sound awful, but I don't care. I mean it. I don't care. Not that I don't love you. Not that I don't love you, but we need to grow some thicker skin. If somebody said to me, your sobriety, scratch that, because it's just going to be me piling on. But here's what it comes down to. If you want to remain sober, right? I do 1,000 and, well, let's see, I do about 600 shows, 700 shows a year on here, maybe a little bit more than that. About 4 of them have to do with politics. So if you can't stand my politics, bail off when you hear me start and come on back the next day and we'll be friends, right? But those are the rules, and those are the rules explained. The one that I have no patience for is mean people suck. So if you're in the comment section and you say somebody, well, you're stupid because you're a Republican, you're gone. That's mean. We don't do mean. If you say you're stupid because you're a Democrat, you're gone. We don't do mean, right? We don't do mean. So I like to keep the debate about politics out of the comment section. I like to keep cursing out of the comment section. I like to keep God in the comment section positively. If you got sober because you believe God got you sober, I don't expect you to bite your tongue and not say that. What I expect you to do is not say to somebody, and you're never going to get sober without him, and you're never going to get to heaven without him. We don't tell people things like that because it just doesn't come across nice. I'm a Christian who has real problems with how most people within the actual proper church religion of Christianity do what they do. They alienate, in my opinion, more people than they bring in. And what we are supposed to do is be able to be seen as somebody that believes in God through the love that we show the world. People tend to be surprised when they find out. Very often they're surprised when they find out I'm a deeply religious person because of the fact that I robbed banks and went to prison and did all of that, whatever, yada, yada. But I hope if you watch at a distance, and when I get emails from people who say things like, I know you sacrifice a lot to do this channel. Guess why? Because of my beliefs in the higher power that I answer to is the reason that I do this channel. So I hope that by the things that I do, people will see my faith. But I'm not going to jam it down your throat, and I'm not going to tell you how stupid you are for believing a different faith. Does all of this make sense? I really hope that it does. I don't want people who believe that that if they say the word God, we're going to get them out of the comment section, or we're going to delete their email. It's not where we're going with this. I don't want us. Let's rephrase this. All right. We don't argue about religion here. We don't argue about politics here. Okay. We don't argue about religion, and we don't argue about politics. If the world was the way it was supposed to be, the Democrat who was in the White House would be doing the same thing that a Republican would be doing in the White House. And that would be to protect our country. That is first and foremost their job, right? Levying taxes, passing bills, all of the things that they do, right? We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide common defense. Those are the three things that our federal government are supposed to do. They're not providing common defense if we're being attacked every day and losing 300 more Americans a day. Every day, 2,100 people a week. That's worse than we were doing in Vietnam, people. Way worse, right? By about a factor of times 2 annually. We lost 57,000, I think, in Vietnam over a very long period of time. Last year, we lost 100,000 in the United States to drugs. 1 year, right? Not from Dien Bien Phu to the helicopters taking off on Saigon. That was a 5-year or 6-year run or something along those lines. We're losing 100,000 people every single year, and it's going to be worse this year. It's going to be bigger. If they're true with the numbers, we're going to be looking at 150,000 to 200,000, maybe more. So, those are the politics that get discussed for real. There are things that just have to be said. I think there are things that people have to hear. I'm never going to become a political channel. On Rumble, I'm going to say whatever I want, people. Rumble is my payout. Rumble is what I get paid for not speaking my piece over here. If you like me and you think I'm a great guy, and we may not think the same way in politics, but you dig me, maybe don't go over and hear what I think about God and politics. But if you want to hear it, it's going to be there on Sunday over on Rumble. And it's going to be every Sunday on Rumble. Why? Because here, if I say the word China, I get demonetized. There are literally about 250 words that I can't say on this boat. That's painful when you're a public speaker, especially when you're a public speaker that doesn't have a script. When you're a public speaker that hits go live and just does what he does, that's painful, right? Can't say China, can't say fentanyl, can't say cocaine. Kind of right what I do, isn't it? Kind of right in the wheelhouse for what I do as a guy that talks to people about drugs. You can talk to people about drugs and you can help them get sober. Just don't mention any drugs. Well, that kind of gets tough, doesn't it? Jana, good to see you. Thank you. I am doing well, and I feel good. Love this channel and all of you. Well, you know what? That's why I'm doing a show today, currently at this hour of the day, is because I love this channel and everybody on it. Sunday on Rumble, time please. My plan, Annette, was to do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That would be California time. That would be 4 o'clock on the East Coast. And since you faithful people have showed up here today, why don't you tell me if that works for you? And if it doesn't, I will reconfigure when I do it. Let's talk about it. Does that work? That's just nuts. Advertiser driven, as I understand it. Goosebumps, that has something to do with it. But really, in all honesty, what it has to do with is a very serious political lean in the planet right now. So the people that run Google, the people that run, and I work for Google, by the way, right? That's my boss. But the people at Google, there's not a human being that walked into that building that voted for President Trump. And there's not a person that walked into that building ever who is going to vote for whoever runs against Biden the next time. They don't care what the issue is. They don't talk about issues. And I'm telling you this, I'm not being cruel or anything else. But if you knew the number of times that someone has come up and said, I believe wholeheartedly on the left, and I say, okay, and I sit down and we go to have a conversation. They're not, and I'm just being straight, man. This is what it is. They don't listen to talk radio for 5 hours a day. Right? The average conservative does listen to talk radio. The average conservative researches things about the news other than what they see on the news. Like they actually deep dive all kinds of things. Are there Democrats who do that? Yes. But it's a much smaller percentage. The people who are conservative take a very serious, it is a part of their lives. And the left has done some very unusual things, and Google is complicit in hell in this. For instance, the American flag is considered a racist trigger. Do you hear that? The American flag is considered a racist trigger. You can read that. That is literally in the doctrine. They won't play the national anthem because it is a trigger. And they hold all of us today responsible for things that were done by our ancestors or other ancestors thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, whatever the case may be. You know, it really is a culture. It's not an ideology. And there's a reason that the number of people who are leaving that ideology and moving into the more conservative viewpoints. If you look at things like viewership, right? Fox News used to be considered the conservative news agency. They're not anymore, but they were considered that for a long time. And everybody else is left. So if it's CNBC, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, all of them, right? All of them, they all have a very, very left-leaning bent. And as we've talked about so many times on the news before, they just tell you what you want to hear. Yes, it's the news. But it's the news, okay, we had a hurricane yesterday in Boston, Massachusetts that leveled half of the town. We did because those lousy, no good Republicans are destroying the environment. And this is causing, I have news for you. You all can hate me for this, right? And I should be doing this on the other platform. But here's the deal. Do you know that if the North Pole and the South Pole are frozen, do you know what we call that? I'd be interested. Does anybody know what we call that? When the North Pole and the South Pole are covered in ice, what do we call that? Anyone? Bueller? Okay, there's a delay. So here's what it is. If the North Pole and South Pole are covered in ice, we're in an ice age. Yeah, true story. If the North Pole and the South Pole are covered in ice, we are in an ice age. So double freeze, absolutely. We're in an ice age. Right now, we are right in the middle of an ice age. So is it getting warmer? Probably a little bit. In theory, over the next little bit, it's going to get warmer. Technically, over the last 12 years, the temperatures have dropped. You can look that up. But you understand, I'm going to give you woke. Woke is a perfect example, and everyone will get angry at me, but we're going to do it anyway. Woke, let's say woke says there are going to be 15 genders. Okay? 15 genders. Here's what the 15 genders are going to be. You accept that or you don't. Now, what percentage of the population is actually LGBTQ LMNOP? Is probably what, 7%, right? Conservative, 7, let's say 10 if you want to. So we're going to kowtow, bend over backwards, and do everything we can to make 10% happy. I'm fine. Let's do it. Here's your 15 genders, and we'll accept your pronouns and do whatever you want us to do. Are we good? Okay, good. No, we're not. Here's what we want next. The problem is this. Everybody wields incredible power. They raise all kinds of money, right? Black Lives Matter is a great example. Look at the amount of money that they raised. Well, once the issue goes away, you're irrelevant. You have nothing left to talk about. So woke has to keep going. So now it's transvestite reading hours in school, right? What's next? Because I promise you people, there's something next. When we let anybody, and I don't care what they're talking about. I don't care whether it's woke or if it's the other way. But if you have an organization, a machine that raises money and deals with people in the halls of Congress, what happens when you win? You're gone. You got to go get a job. You got to stop doing what you're doing. You're no longer relevant. Nobody wants to interview you. 4% says mind games, and I tend to believe them. We're gonna bend over backwards for the 4%, but we're going to continue to allow them to keep pushing. Right? When this first started, they wanted equal rights. They wanted to be able to get married, right? This was the platform for LGBTQ when it first started. This was the platform. Then we got into pronouns. If you live your life as a woman, I will call you Miss. I don't have a problem with that. If you live your life, I will call you Miss and Mrs. Right? Honey, darling, whatever you want me to call you, I'm cool with that. That's how you live your life. Okay? We're all right. Yes? Okay, now we have neo-pronouns, like them, yak, wow, or right? They can just grunt. They can make up whatever pronoun they want. Here's the funny thing. Do you know where that came from? Google it. Research the history of neo-pronouns. You stumbled, Brandon, but you poured out the rest of a bottle. I'm proud of you. You did good. And as far as I'm concerned, Brandon, you're on day 37. One shot and a realization, that's huge for you. That's never happened before. Every time you've stumbled, you've gone into a full-blown relapse. This was huge. Last night was epic. I got a picture of him pouring out the booze, and that's epic. And I'm proud of you. Okay, so the pronouns, when it started, it was LBG. Correct. No T, no Q. Correct. Absolutely 100% correct. They had to keep adding to it because without adding to it, they've become irrelevant. Because lesbian, gay, and transgender stuff, or lesbian and gay stuff, they have their rights. I have friends who are gay that are tripping on what is going on with LGBTQ LMNOP. They were very happy. They said, we can get married, we can do whatever we want. We're treated just like you. Now they have to be treated differently than us. Now they have to be treated better. It's the same thing with racism, right? White men have been racist their entire lives. White women have been racist their entire lives. Now we're going to treat them like crap to make up for, right? We call every white woman, right, who does anything even remotely offensive, we call her a Karen. And now it is considered just a pejorative to say, you know, there's a Karen. Imagine if I just picked a black name of a traditional black woman in America and started calling all black girls Letitia. How do you think that would go over? Huh? Think about it. And my best friend, the gentleman that saved my life and started this channel, the reason that I am here as a black man, never saw him that way. I really didn't. And I was in a place where you damn well better notice that somebody's a race. I don't buy into any of that crap, but you understand that they're going to keep pushing the envelope because it's what they do. And I don't care about any of it. I really don't. In terms of the rights, you get whatever right you want. Live and let live. Because I'm not a Republican, whether you believe that or not. And I'm not a Democrat. If I had to put a label on myself, I used to say I think I'm probably just going to call myself conservative. But I'm not. Because I believe in so much on the social aspects of things like harm reduction and a lot of things with drug reform that just quite simply put are not considered conservative. So yeah, libertarian. Thank you, Goosebump. If I had to call myself something, I would call myself a libertarian. Live and let live. Do what you're going to do. And let's stop messing with other people's countries and trying to tell them how to live. Right? Those are the things I have issues with. But this isn't a political channel, and it's not a religious channel. But for the love of God, I believe in free speech, and you can have it here, unless your free speech starts to be painfully obvious that the only reason you're saying it is to be cruel. I don't do cruel. Free speech is great. And in the real world, you say whatever you want, even if it is cruel. For instance, you can call a black man the N-word. It's legal. Makes you an asshole, but it doesn't make you a criminal. And you can hate him or her solely for being black. Makes you an ass, but it doesn't make you a criminal. Does it make you a bad person? Probably. But I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Squirrel's just going to stay like this for the rest of the day, because if not, she's going to destroy my office and my computer and all other things. She's really on one. She didn't get enough sleep or got too much sleep or something, but boy, is she starting to really, really make it hard to do a show. So he doesn't do cruel. I mean, that's it. I don't do cruel. I did for a long time in my life. I didn't do cruel. But the beautiful thing about this place is you're all on my porch, right? I mean, this is your boat, but make no mistake, I built it, right? And if you want a place where you can say, no one is going to be able to say the word, Trump ever on the channel. And if they do, they have to say, he's a thief, a loser, a rapist, whatever you want to go with, right? You want that channel? Build it. And I encourage you to. And I hope that in the process, you will try to help people get sober, right? Because we need more channels that are trying to help people get sober. There can't be enough of them. We all deserve not to be judged before conviction. Well done, Annette. Well done. And you know what? And I'll be the first to tell you right here that our legal system is broken. The way blacks are treated in our legal system is not the way whites are treated in our legal system. And it has been that way systematically for a very long time. And how do we deal with it? We went the other direction. When I got sentenced, there was a guy, I was being sentenced for felon in possession of a firearm and a violation of a Hobbs Act law and illegally selling guns without a license. First offense of that kind. And my sentence came in at 78 or 79 months or something. Or no, it was 96 months is what my sentence came in at. So I got a 96-month sentence. The black man who went directly before me, who was about 6 years younger than I was on his third felon in possession of a firearm. He went in, we talked about my cerebral infarction and all of the things that were going on with my health. I had just had a stroke. I was in a wheelchair. He talked about having sickle cell anemia. He got 24 months. I got 96. And this is happening across the board. And when COVID-19 hit, if you were a black person in the prison and you had asthma, they let you go home. There were white guys in there that had emphysema and cancer that they didn't let go home. And everybody is so afraid to look racist that they're just going to treat the white individual or any other individual like crap so that the minority can be treated better. I want minorities to be treated the same. I don't want anyone to be treated better than anybody. Anybody, right? I want a world. Extremism seems to travel in cycles. Moral majority in the 80s telling us what to think. Now woke warriors doing the same 40 years later. That was a really astute comment, actually. It really is. Because it does go in cycles. And here's what scares me, Bach Buddy. Here's kind of what scares me is that there's a really excellent chance that it's going to go in the other direction. What happens is, kids rebel against their parents. It's gone on since the first set of parents, right? Kids, they need to rebel. They feel that need to rebel. So what's going to happen with this generation? We're going to come up with a conservative group of kids for the next generation who are going to be so conservative. It's terrifying because right now we're so liberal. It's terrifying. Hey, Patrick's, we love you too. Yeah. Bach Buddy nailed that, right? Here's honestly, like, I want everybody to be treated the same, but My family didn't own slaves. I don't want any of my money paying off people who were never slaves, right? I mean, some of the stuff is just absolutely incredible. You know who the first slaves were? Go back to Italy, right? 1,000 years before. Can we pay them off? And where do you draw the line? Think of how many different things people have been screwed over with. Okay, we pick slavery. How about everybody that when we revamp the prison systems? Because let me tell you something, the prison systems will be completely different in 50 years. Completely different. 180 degrees, because what they're doing right now doesn't work. But does that mean you go back and cut a check to every single person that ever did time? Look, man, the past is the past. We learn from it. We move on. We get better. And if the past happened to your dad, well, then maybe we got to take care of you. Or if the past happened to your great-granddad or your great-great-granddad, but the state in the United States that intends to pay reparations first did not ever have any slaves, right? California was a state without slavery. And they're going to pay people who were never slaves from money taken from people who were never slave owners. I mean, we've gotten to a point of stupidity that is terrifying. And I'll talk about this on the other channel. I shouldn't be doing this here. You tricked me. Sorry, I can't help myself. I will do this on Rumble, and I will do it at 1 o'clock. Is everybody cool with 1 o'clock on Sunday? Toss a 1 up in the chat if that is a time that works for you. And let's get this out of the way. This is Squirrel. This is a basket. She's not going to stay in it. I wish that she would, but she's not going to. Here, let's see, because this looked like Squirrel. Oh, you didn't do that to me, kitty. Did you do that? Really? Did you do that, Squirrel? That's great. All right, everybody. Let's see if I can get you back. You're gone. You just got booted for turning off the computer. You're gone. All right, you're back. Okay, so one works. One works. Poor kids and young adults are suffering, but have no historical reference to how deranged this reality is. They think something is wrong with them that they can't relate. Jennifer, what a great comment. Holy crap. Very astute, Jennifer. And I'll tell you something else, people. Here, we'll do one more, because I've been called a hater concerning my stance on transgenders. And here's what it comes down to. If you believe that you are born in the wrong body, they have a word for it. It is a mental illness. It doesn't make you a bad person. I have a mental illness. And if you choose to live that way, I will treat you with all the dignity and respect that you have coming. Plain and simple. But when I was 12 or 13 years old, I remembered looking at pictures of guys, and who were they? They were Schwarzenegger and Rambo, right? And all of these guys that were just yoked. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I looked like the character from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? I looked like this scrawny little, and I did not look like a man. Now, I wrestled through those thoughts like every other boy did. And girls who at the age of 12 have seen 25 million, or at the age of 7 have seen 25 million pictures of girls who are augmented, pressed up, 6 feet tall, legs 72 inches long, right? All of these different things that cloud in her head what a vision of a woman is. And as puberty started, she's looking in the mirror going, I got to be a guy. Obviously. I mean, look at me. I don't look like any of those. And that happened to everybody. And we all go through that awkward phase. But now there's this sounding board for the first time, right? We have the internet. And a kid can go into a chat room these days and say, I have a strange fantasy. I want to be hit with a fish while naked and reading a copy of Moby Dick with 1 foot in a bucket of isopropyl rubbing alcohol. And for whatever reason, that's the only thing that flips my switch. That person's going to find 500 people who go, that's me. I thought I was the only one. And the internet will bring all of those people together and make everything look like it's normal. No matter what it is you think, no matter what it is you want, no matter what it is, your feelings, not only will we say those feelings are legit, but we'll allow you to act as if you're 45 years old and make decisions about whether or not you want to live the rest of your life with the inability to get an erection. Sorry, people, but that's really what it comes down to, right? If they start giving these drugs to a boy, puberty blockers, sounds like, what's the big deal, right? If he changes his mind at 22, he's never going to have sex again, because he will not have developed to a point where that piece of equipment will ever work again. Well, that scares the crap out of me. And if it doesn't scare the crap out of you, I question your sanity. The number of people who have transitioned, including my daughter. My daughter decided that she was a boy. And that happened when she was about 12 years old. And it went for about 3 years that she lived as a boy. And I called her by her chosen boy name. I tried to do the boy pronouns. Occasionally I would slip up, and she was very sporty about it. And we spent a tremendous amount of time talking. And we one day after about 3 or 4 years, she said to me, we talked about transgenders and all kinds of stuff. She said, but you've never told me any opinion on me and my situation. And I said, you're not a boy. And I'll give you 15 reasons why. And I started going down all of these checklists of things that were just very uniquely female, in my opinion. And she said, I'm starting to really worry that I'm not a boy. Well, she's had school counselors and everybody else really encourage this entire thing. And the pressure of now coming back and saying, you know what, I'm wrong. And she did it, which is courageous as crap. She announced on Father's Day 3 years ago that she is a girl, and she is living that way now and is immensely happy. But what if when she was 12, we started giving her testosterone, lots of it, enough to get some hair on her face, maybe cut off her breasts? What if we had done that then? Well, then we'd really be in a world of crap. And I think that someday we're going to look back on these years the same way that we do on great failures in the past that seem like good ideas, right? Like eugenics. Well, if we kill off all of the weak, we will get a much stronger group of people. And holy hell, right? There were famous people in this country who thought that was an amazing idea, including Bill Gates' dad, for the record, right? And a woman named Margaret Sanger, who started a little thing called the Negro Project. Look it up. You know what the Negro Project was? Whatever they tell you, look it up and research it. The Negro Project was Planned Parenthood. It was abortions in inner cities to kill black babies before they were born. How blacks can't be just irate at the concept of Planned Parenthood still being in business, but research it. It was started by Bill Gates' old man and Margaret Sanger. It was called the Negro Project, and they were doing everything they could to keep down the population of blacks by putting abortion centers in every single inner city in our country. And those centers are still there. Today, we call them Planned Parenthood, and we fund them with our tax dollars. That's what it is, right? I'm not telling you things that are an opinion. Those are all facts. Go look them up, okay? But that's how all of that started. I will be on at 1 o'clock on. Sorry. Love your story and totally agree. What is going on in the U.S. is crazy. Thank you, KP. Good to see you. Hey, Karen, you're a great human being, and don't let them steal your name. Your name is beautiful. All right? Your name is beautiful. Don't let them steal your name. They're sons of bitches, and your name is beautiful, and you are a amazing human being. Don't let anybody give you any crap. And that Karen stuff's got to stop. It's got to stop. Right? Mean people suck. And that Karen thing is mean, and it's accepted. We have a movie. You ever seen the movie White Girls? Can you imagine if we made a movie and called it Black Girls and just did all of the stereotypes that people like to do about another race? It would be the most offensive thing in the entire world. But it's funny as hell if they're picking on the white girls. I'm tired of the women in this country being marginalized. I'm tired of the women in this country being called birthers or menstruators or breastfeeders or any of that crap. You're women. And you know what? You were born that way. It is a gift from whatever you believe. In my opinion, you're a gift from God. And I love women. It really bums me out that every time somebody wins Woman of the Year, they happen to have a penis. I'm sorry. That bums me out. There, I said it. Guess that makes me a hater, huh? No, it makes me a lover. I love women. I can't stand what's being done to them. And it's being done to them really unfairly. That was my phone again. That is absolutely amazing. I cannot find my phone. I'll have to have Scoob. I'll give it a call. All right, peeps. I am going to be Scoob. You don't have to take any crap. Scoob, you want to be goth, be beautiful, and love it. All right. Monk says women are awesome, and he's right. Women are awesome. I need to do a show. Maybe I'll do it over on the other one, but I need to do a Woman Appreciation Day. and just, highlight all of the reasons they're fantastic. See that? Mama Scoville to the rescue. She's obviously watching the Lifeboat and saw a squirrel driving me nuts and probably just gave her a treat. Monk says, I'm in. Yeah, well, I'm going to do it. I'll probably do it over on Rumble, but I am going to do a show where we just celebrate women. Why? Are people using my name Karen as a slur? They are, KP. Karen is a name that is used now to describe white women who believe they're privileged. And I mean, God forbid, there's a great video of a girl who she goes and tries to get on one of those little city electric bikes. She's put a credit card in and you go. It's how she gets back and forth to work. She's a nurse. And they ran this video for about 6 days of her holding onto a bike and saying to the black gentleman next to her, I got here first. This is my bike. And CNN ran it for a week, talking about Karen this, Karen that, white privileged Karen. Well, another video surfaced a few days later that showed her on this bike, putting her card in, walking up. Then as she's coming back, the guy grabs the bike. She was in the right 100%. They destroyed her. Great woman in Central Park. I was the most guilty of anybody. I watched the video of this girl in Central Park who called the cops and said, there's a black guy here threatening me, and he's threatening my dog. And I thought, this woman, the guy's not near her. He didn't threaten her. And then I saw the interview afterwards, and the guy said, I couldn't believe the way this woman was acting. She's obviously racist. And I thought, what a bitch. Like this, there's something wrong with this woman. Then I saw a different clip of film where he came up and said, I'm going to kill your dog. Watch it. Go deep dive it. You probably saw the CNN one. Go see the real one. He said, I will kill your dog. She said, don't hurt my dog. And then he got down on one knee or both knees and went, come here, boy, come here, trying to get the dog over, telling the woman he's going to kill her dog. And then they call her a Karen because she called 911. And she said, there's a black man. The first thing that happens when you call 911 and you say, there's a person here and they're doing this, please describe them. It's the first thing they ask you. But you can't say that. I mean, this is such a woke world right now. We got to go, well, he's not light-skinned. He's not, right? You say black, you're a racist. You say anything, you're a racist, right? Do you know how many times I get called a racist a week? A racist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, all of that crap. You know what, people? I want 5,000 subscribers. I want 10,000 subscribers. But if I lose 12 people a day who are offended by who I am, then someday we'll get to 5,000 and the people here won't hate me. My ex is a racist and he treated my neighbor terrible. When he left, she came to me and told me whatever took place was not done because of me. That's great. That's great. He sounds like a lowlife, and we know that he sounds like the lowlife we know him to be. Jennifer Rice, good to see you. It's I want a society, honestly, and admittedly, look, I'm a public speaker, and there's not a public speaker in the world that doesn't have a real thing for Martin Luther King, right? Because Martin Luther King was arguably, if he wasn't the best public speaker that ever lived, he's certainly in the running, right? He's just the ability to command an audience and to work an audience like that. That is one of the most talented speakers that ever lived. And I can watch him do speeches back to back. Like I could put it on and then rewatch it because the talent was incredible and the message was fantastic. But when he said that he wanted to live in a world where people would be judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's our world. That's the one that it is supposed to be, right? We're all human beings. So I'm just going to judge you on whether you're a good human being, a bad human being, a kind human being, a mean human being. That's it, right? That's how it's supposed to be. But because we fell so short of that for so long, now we have this the bowstrings hit and went back the opposite direction. And now it's gotten so far out of kilter. I just hope that through the love of one another that we can put this back together. Virginia, I agree. In your profile picture, Patrick's 421, what kind of shirt is that? What does it say on it? Kind of looks like a Mets Jersey. Got to say that part of resounds with me here. The people, in my opinions, are 90% agreeable with Tommy. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. And boy, if it's 90%, I'm doing good. If 60%, I'm doing good. I was raised by men from World War II. Number one rule drilled into me. All men in my family do not hit women. My boys, my grandboys know the number one rule. It seems so obvious. It really does, doesn't it? And I'll tell you something. That was drilled in my household as well. And in fact, and I knew this. And like I said, I was a liar. It's a Huff jersey. There you go. I was a liar growing up, a horrendous one. But if I got into a fight, it didn't matter what the fight was for. I knew that if I came home and I said to my dad, the guy was messing with a girl and putting hands on her and hit her or slapped her or whatever, then whatever I did was like, I got to get out of jail free pass. I remember coming home once with a bruise over my eye, and it literally was what happened. A guy had hit a girl at a party. We had a bonfire at a place called the Pit, and a guy got drunk and hit his girlfriend, and I hit him. But when I did, I crunched my hand, and when he got back up, he was able to get me with a knee in the head. And I came home looking really bad. But when I told my dad what happened, he went from angry to, yeah, that's what you should have done. I test. If you ask what the number one rule, that we'll all chant it. I love it. You know what? And that's the way it should be. My dad told me 3 older brothers, gentlemen never hit ladies. Ladies cease to be ladies if they hit men. Kelly, I love that. I love that. I got punched in the face by a girl that I dated on New Year's. And she hit me so hard that if the refrigerator wasn't there, I would have gone down. I've been punched by a lot of people, and this was in the top 3 or 4 punches that anyone ever hit me with. I didn't hit her back. Our American heritage, or what it may be called, is being erased. You're right. It's being erased. We erase people because they were slave owners. I got news for you, man. Right? There are slave owners today. You know that, right? Slavery's not gone. Slavery's not gone. It's still rampant in parts of the world, all over the place. And I'll tell you, you know where it's growing the fastest? Right here, through our southern border. Slavery is happening more right now because of all of the people that are coming here and being sold into slavery, literally. But in Africa, they're still selling slaves. It's a messed up world that we live in, but we fixed it. We learned, we evolved. People, if you consider that, I'm 53 years old. And when I used to look at World War II clips of film, I would see something that looked like it happened 8 million years ago. It's black and white, and there's no way to relate to it in any way. To me, that seemed like the pyramids kind of old. And then you get older and you start realizing that, you know what? That was 24 years before I was born. It's 24 years before I was born. This is not such far away history. So if you consider that in the 50s, we were a segregated country, I think we're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? We were an ignorant piece of crap country in the 50s. Look how far we've come. We've elected a black president twice. And I got news for you. If you believe any of the statistics, well, there are not nearly enough in order to elect a black president. You know how you do it? With a hell of a lot of white people who vote for him. I just don't think that, and to say we're systemically racist, right? To say that racism is inherent. I assure you, my mother and my sister ran daycare centers and worked in schools my entire life. And I spent a great deal of my youth seeing 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds play. Like, this was a huge part of my youth because of what my family had done. And you know what? I never saw racism among kids. You put black kids, white kids, yellow kids, red kids, blue kids, and you put them all in a room. They will walk up to one another, introduce themselves, and say, "Do you want to play?" You know what that means? That means it's taught. It's not inherent. You don't inherit it, right? Like my ability to, with a fake Connecticut Social Security. Hold on one second. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, peeps. I thought I missed something, but I didn't. We must learn history so that we do not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Kind of sounds like insanity to me. Well, it is. It absolutely is. I'm getting closer to the phone. Boy, that was weird. That was so weird. All right, peeps. I think that about covers it. I really just wanted to come on and talk about. I think there is something to the implicit bias thing, racism, sexism, all taught. Yes. Yeah, it's taught. It is absolutely 100% taught. Now, are there a lot of people who teach their kids that? Yeah, there are. There are way too many. But every generation, there's less. Every generation, there's less. And what we want to do, racism is fear, Bach Buddy. What it really comes down to is fear. And I've watched this so many times in prison where, guys are afraid of, white guys are afraid of black guys and black guys are afraid of white guys. And Danny Masterson will meet real women defenders in prison. You're absolutely right. Once you meet people of the opposite race and you have an opportunity to sit down and talk with them and get to know them, you'll realize we're all the exact same person, right? We all put on our pants one leg at a time. We all wonder why we're here. We all wonder what's going to happen when we die. We all wonder all of these things, right? These are all the questions that everyone of any race, and I've watched, black, white, Mexican, everybody. I've watched them all bleed, and I'm telling you, it is the exact same thing. When all the colors are mixed, it turns black. What you think God was implying, we are all one. You know what, too, is, I honestly just, maybe it's because of my life or whatever, but I don't care, right? I don't care what race a person is. I don't care what sexuality a person is. But I'm not going to go like this. Hi, I'm Tommy Scoville. I'm a heterosexual white male. You meet someone who says to you, I'm gay, and I'm black, I'm an immigrant, and I'm gay. Why do I need to know any of those things, right? The hell does that have to do with anything? Why do I need to know who you sleep with within 4 minutes of meeting you? I don't care, and I don't want to know. And you know what? I have loved women for 53 years, and I don't walk down the street naked with them, and I don't walk down the street with my tongue down their throats. It's just stuff you keep in a different place. But the world is changing, and it's not changing for the better, and we do have an opportunity to do something about that. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because there's things that can be done. And you know what? I'm going to talk about that on Sunday because I'm not going to do it here. But you know what? Maybe this was a teaser for Sunday. And I'll tell you something. I am quite willing to let anybody that we can talk about these things on Rumble. And you want to weigh in? I'm going to have Heather Joy try to help me set it up so that I can bring people in. Once I'm done telling you exactly where I'm at and what I think, if you would like to ask questions or you would like to. I don't even care if you want to debate it, as long as you're friendly. Archie Bunker taught me what a fool a racist is, maybe even a kind-hearted fool. Blazing Saddles showed me how really stupid racists are. You know what, Bach Buddy, man, I had this conversation with somebody. I didn't mention Blazing Saddles, but I was talking about All in the Family. And the saddest thing is, and you're so damn right. I'm sorry, but you are so damn right. The saddest thing about that is that's a show that should still be on the air, because at a very young age, honestly, like my first exposure to racism was Archie Bunker. I never saw any of it before that. And they painted him as such a moron, right? He was just so stupid. And you could like him, but you knew he was dumb. And when a black person came on set, you knew he was going to do something stupid. And it hammered home how dumb racists look to the world. It was beautifully made. You couldn't make it today. Couldn't make it today. That's a canceled show. Ain't no way in hell they'll make that today. Ain't no way in hell they'll make that today. Children are born with an open slate. It's who wields the chalk that determines their outlook on life. Wow, that's lovely. That's lovely. And sadly, right now, we're letting a lot of people play with that chalk. A parasite issue with sugar. I like Jennifer Daniels' turpentine protocol for that. Wow, you really are one of the smartest cats I've ever known when it has anything to do with alternative medicine. Cleavon Little and Richard Pryor helped me. Mel Brooks wrote the movie to show the absurdity of racism. It's a fun movie, really a fun movie. And Cleavon Little was great in that. Not Cleavon Little. One of my all-time favorite movies. I watch it when Johnny comes over. We'll watch Blazing Saddles. But all of the Mel Brooks. That just happens to be one. I think my favorite Mel Brooks movie is probably Young Frankenstein. But everything he did was incredible. High Anxiety. There's none I haven't seen. I'm a huge Mel Brooks guy. Satire is not allowed anymore. It's truth. Boy, Bob Marley music is very healing. It's a true story, man. I love Bob. I go through phases. Like there was about 3 years where it was all I listened to, and then as I got older. Sanford and Sons would be, yeah. I mean, no, what could you make today? Right? What could you make today? You could probably make Gilligan's Island, right? Because no, you couldn't, because there's no black people, and you would need at least one. The new rules now are if you're going to make a movie and it's going to be nominated for an Academy Award, there has to be black people in the cast. So what if the book was written about two white guys that get stranded on a deserted island? Well, you have to change the artist's interpretation because we're going to force you into acceptance of what we think. That's not how it works. We should all just get together and have block parties, meet one another, go meet your neighbors, hang out, do things that will let us all know that we're the same. All right, peeps, I really do have to go, as I've got a ton of things that I have to do today, including fixing a problem. We have a lost watch, another great job done by the Postal Service. So I got to go and locate a new watch and get it to repair. So, all right, peeps. I am Captain. Knock that off. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This is Squirrel. She's a cat in the basket. I will see you all tonight for Saturday Night Boat. God bless.